Welcome to This Explainer. Today, I'm stepping into the role of your seasoned brand consultant, and honestly, we're going to treat this time just like a premium strategy session. If you've ever felt like, an aimless creator, just kind of throwing content into the digital void and hoping something magically sticks, well, you're exactly where you need to be. Our goal right now is to completely shift your trajectory. We're going to transform you from a wandering creator into a highly intentional, trusted brand. So let's get right to work. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is the high-level roadmap we'll cover today to reverse engineer your brand success. We've got choosing your brand's future, the 4-question journey framework, finding the market gap, the story formula from failures, and we'll wrap up with the 80-20 allocation rule. Starting with part 1, choosing your brand's future, moving from random to intentional. Look, right now, I'd say 99.9% of people online are just wandering completely aimlessly. They're producing without any clear destination in mind, and that creates what we call the forgettable brand. This is where you post randomly, build absolutely zero trust, and unsurprisingly, see zero conversions. It relies purely on hope. But then on the flip side, we have the intentional brand. This one is built on deliberate strategy. You own specific associations, you build deep, deep trust with your audience, and you actually drive people toward a purchasing decision. So, let's strip away the fluff, right? Forget all that woo-woo magic you hear about branding. Professionally speaking, a brand is simply an intentional pairing of relevant things, done consistently, which results in an inherent audience association. That's literally it. It's a deliberate, operational pairing of ideas. It's not magic, it's something you can actively control. And this brilliantly illustrates how the biggest players actually pull this off. Let's look at a couple of classic case studies. Nike, right? They entered the basketball market wanting to be known for athletic greatness. So what do? They intentionally paired themselves with Michael Jordan. Or take Harley-Davidson. They intentionally pair their marketing with the open road. And what happens? Their customer base inherently associates them with pure freedom. The practical lesson for us here is that you have to operationalize and pair your own content just as ruthlessly. Moving on to part 2, the 4-question journey framework. Reverse engineering your success. There's a great analogy from Alice in Wonderland for this. If you don't know your desired destination, literally any road will take you there. You have to know where you're going to plot the right course. If you're just starting out, here is your 4-step strategic framework. Question 1, what is your desired outcome? You always got to start at the end goal. Question 2, what do you need to be known for in order for that outcome to happen? Question 3, what actions must you take to build that reputation? Because remember, building a brand is about your actions, not just what you say. And finally, question 4, what do you need to learn today to take those actions? This simple framework basically gives you your exact day 1 marching orders. All right, part 3, finding the market gap, positioning against the competition. Blending in is absolutely the enemy of branding. Standing out requires identifying exactly what is missing in your current industry landscape. And to find that gap, you need to ask yourself this pivotal question. What are your competitors saying that you fundamentally disagree with? Seriously, how can you bring a completely fresh perspective to what's been taught in your space for years? Finding and filling this specific gap is exactly how you protect your brand from just disappearing into the night. Once you actually find that core disagreement, you can really contrast your approach. A standard competitor strategy, well, that usually emphasizes short-term virality and just chasing views. But here's the catch. The moment the platform algorithm changes, nobody's searching for them anymore. Your unique brand strategy, though, focuses on depositing goodwill and building long-term trust. Owning a specific market gap creates lasting loyalty that survives literally any algorithm shift. On to part 4, story formula from failures, the human element of branding. Now, as we execute all of this, please do not act like a corporate robot. Trying to look perfect all the time actually hurts you. You must address audience skepticism directly, just like a good consultant would. Legitimately, the majority of people watching your content are sitting there wondering, why should I trust this person? Read your comment section to really understand their doubts, and then address that friction proactively. Treat your content kind of like a video sales letter. If you answer their objections before they're even asked, you build unwavering credibility. So the crucial point is captured perfectly right here. Sharing failures builds relatability and transforms a setback into a powerful brand asset. Let me give you a personal example. In my very first YouTube video, I shared a massive failure. I talked about having my monthly compensation cut in half by a client and actually having to fire friends that I had hired. Let me tell you, it was a real shot to my ego.
But sharing it proved that transparency always trumps posturing. It makes you human. A robust brand isn't built on just a single dramatic aha moment. It's really built on an ongoing pattern of credibility. So, here is your actionable 3-step story formula. Step 1, the catalyst. What specific gap or opportunity do you see that others just don't? Step 2, the core truth. What's your unique conviction that makes you different? And step 3, the proof. How do your consistent daily actions actually reinforce this identity?
And finally, part 5, the 80-20 allocation rule, connecting deeply with your audience.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we balance things. To ensure your brand remains highly authoritative but still human, we lock in your focus with the 80-20 rule. Basically, 80% of your output should be completely dedicated to your professional or core topic. You identify this by asking, what specific skill or expertise actually drives my revenue? But that remaining 20%, that must be allocated to your personal interests, your hobbies, and your quirks, just to round you out.
We call this 20% rule interest stacking. You want to give your audience way more at-bats to connect with you on a personal level. Think of it like starting a new corporate job, right? On day 1, the only thing you have in common with a coworker is the company. But then, say, you discover you both love Kendrick Lamar. Suddenly, you go from standard professional contacts to loyal work friends. It is the exact same principle online. Sharing your outside interests transforms a casual viewer into a real, loyal advocate.
We've covered a tremendous amount of ground in our consulting session today, and you now have the exact blueprint. So I'm going to leave you with this provocative question to chew on. What is the very first deliberate step you will take today to build your intentional brand? Seriously, it's time to stop posting aimlessly. Take the roadmap we've laid out here and execute your new strategic playbook immediately. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.